It is.
Yeah.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the October 27th Traffic Authority meeting. Since we have a lot of guests, we'll do some introductions, which isn't on the agenda, but I'll add it to. So I'm John Carrington, Director of Public Works. We'll go around this way.
Sherry Bazansky, Public Works Specialist.
Ryan Aylesworth, Town Manager.
Ryan Lavoy, Operations Manager.
Mitchell Price. Derek Delay, Assistant Town Engineer.
Linda Painter, Director of Planning.
Denise Tegler, I'm with the partnership.
Good morning. And we can introduce our team. I'm Sarah Sharp. I'm the Land Use Counsel for this project. We have Jeff Ford, who's our civil engineer at Bowler. We have, I think, Sherry Sade and Steve Moriat from Dwell, our architects. Aaron Fredette at McMahon Engineering is our traffic engineer. And we have a couple of people from the developer, Chase Powell, and Miguel Chico at Landmark.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
We got to run through a couple of items before we get to you on the agenda, but we'll be quick. So
Okay.
first item is approval of September 22nd minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Derek, seconded by Linda. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any extensions? No. Unanimous. No old business. All right, new business, Haven Community. So turn it over to Linda first.
So this is a resubmission of the application that you reviewed back in June. I think I will let the teams present any changes in the traffic analysis. I know that the committee, I was not here, but the committee did look at this first in June and identified there were still some outstanding questions that needed to be answered. I know Derek has reviewed the town's consultants' comments and questions. We met with the applicant week before last, along with the town's consultant to discuss their most recent comments. So mixed use project, 398 units, 15,000 square feet of commercial space, and it's a redevelopment of the Holiday Mall, Two Steps, and former Willard's sites on Storrs Road and Fort Myers. So with that, turn it over to the project team and you guys can explain what the changes in the traffic analysis. We are not bringing this back before every committee, but since the traffic authority had to continue its review and there were changes to the traffic analysis between the last submission and this one, we did put this on the agenda this morning.
Thank you, Linda. You know, as you mentioned, and just looking back from the minutes at the June meeting, one of the issues is that there were outstanding comments from Weston and Sampson that we hadn't responded to yet. We've responded to those now. Hopefully you have those responses, and a lot of it had to do with updating the traffic impact study, which we've done. And I will turn it over to Aaron Fredette with McMahon Engineering. And Aaron, I have the slideshow that I can share on my screen if you would prefer, so just let me know.
Yeah, you know, I have it here too, so I might just
Okay, you
pull it
share.
up. Yeah. So good morning, everybody. Again, Aaron Fredette with McMahon Associates. So I just have a real quick PowerPoint kind of summarizing what has changed since the last time we were in front of you. Can everybody see the PowerPoint? Great. So much of the study stayed the same. We kept the same study area intersections, same time periods, AM and PM. And really the changes that we focused on were based on the comments from Weston and Sampson, and as well as some of the changes that have happened in the area. The first of which was removing the capstone project from the future traffic projections. We also updated our trip generation to make sure that it matched the latest site plan, which, as Linda just said, included both the residential units and the 15,000 square feet of retail. We also updated the traffic information that we had in for the signals based on correspondence from Connecticut DOT, so that our analysis is reflecting the operations as understood from CONDOT. And then using all of this information, we updated our capacity analysis and provided updated results within our traffic impact study So very similar to our original study, the proposed project's not shown to have a significant delay. I think even Weston Sampson noted a negligible delay at the study area intersection, specifically the signals, which I know are of most concern. You can see in the table there, we're looking at, in general, for the overall vehicle delay, less than a second of increased overall delay for the two signalized intersections. And then at the project site driveways, we're showing a level of service D or better during both of the peak hours. And so in terms of next steps, we received the responses to our responses from Weston and Sampson's comments. And I think all but two items as it relates to the traffic study were addressed to their satisfaction. The two outstanding traffic study elements were to document coordination with the Wyndham Regional Transit District regarding the bus stop, and to provide some documentation about preliminary coordination with Connecticut DOT about any clearing required to maintain our sight lines. And so I know we'll be working with Jeff and the project team to make sure that those get worked in. But it looks like from Weston and Sampson's perspective, the analysis was updated appropriately and should be all set. And then as we continue to move forward, we'll be coordinating with OSTA because of the size of the development, as well as Connecticut DOT regarding access onto Stores Road. So, I mean, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or go into any additional detail.
So 2 comments. One was, I think there was a recommendation to include Discovery Drive in the analysis. Do you have any indication on the level of service occurring at Discovery Drive at Route 44?
Sure. So that comment actually we discovered early on, after that letter came out, that it was actually a typo. It was kind of left over from the capstone peer review. So based on what we did for the capstone review, that driveway was operating acceptably. I don't think there was anything, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it was level of service D or better for each of those movements. But yeah, that particular comment, we found out later from Jeff Santa Cruz from Weston Sampson that it was a type, it was just an accidental holdover from the last peer review.
Okay, and then, so the analysis predicates that you're gonna have public or bus service here at the site. And I know that's been still an outstanding issue as to where the bus is going to stop, where is the dedicated location, and how that's going to occur. So I kind of struggle with not having that resolved and accepting the traffic analysis as presented.
Before, I think Jeff can kind of speak to the location of the bus stop, but before we get into that, we did take a small credit for the existence of transit. I think we reduced our trips by 10%. I think in the grand scheme of things, even if we added in that 10%, I don't think it would change things substantially. But Jeff, I don't know if you want to give an update on where we are with that bus coordination.
Yeah, so we had talked with WRTD and Yukon Transit there, and just kind of they expressed interest in having a bus stop on site, just in the fact that they're using the existing driveway as their turnaround now for their routes. So what we did was we did show a proposed bus stop sign similar to what they have now, but we're exploring a more dedicated area for that bus stop at the moment. I'm just trying to share my screen here. Give me 1 second. Share screen. So in our resubmission package, we actually did locate a bus stop sign within this island right here. And what we're exploring now and in concert with WRTD is trying to figure out if there's any specs or any sort of detail they want to see for that, because right now all of the stop that's on this site is currently just a sign at the existing driveway. So we're providing them access from this westernmost driveway into the site, and then they exit this driveway here. There had been some discussion about entering this driveway, coming this way and then doing some sort of dedicated bus stop in concert with the loading area and then out, but we opted to put it on this right-hand side. So ultimately it's their desire to have something on site. And I think with the driveway configuration, the way it lays out, there's a way to do that. We're just trying to figure out the details with them as we're moving forward here.
Jeff, who are you working with at WRTD?
I'd have to get that name from you, Linda. I could try to pull it up while I'm on the call here. Second, RTD. There was a gentleman who was a liaison for both WRTD and UConn.
Is it Philip Johnson?
Yes.
Senior planner one.
There. I got one.
He has his. So I don't need it.
And the other thing, I think this committee brought up last time was loading zones for the retail, commercial businesses.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, depending, not knowing who the end users will be, we do have one dedicated loading zone that does meet the intent of the ordinance. I know there's been interest expressed in potentially, moving this loading area or reallocating some of the parking areas just to provide a more centrally located loading zone. And Sarah, I don't know if there's anything else to add to that. I think ultimately, we do meet the regulation. We are internally looking at whether or not that can be shifted in such a way that provides it in a bit closer proximity to 5,000 and 6,000.
Where would the loading areas be available? Where would the loading be occurring in building 5,000 and 6,000 for those retail outlets? Where would the actual entrance for those businesses be?
The entrances for the businesses, I believe, are on the street side here. So depending on how the buildings are split up, whether there's 3 tenants or 2 tenants, the doors are located on this side here on the street front.
How wide is that roadway boulevard style?
I can get that to you. Give me 1 second.
Is there any?
14 feet with an 8-foot island and 14 feet on the other side.
And
And then 24 foot in the drive aisles down here.
is there any service entry or access, kind of like a back, like loading service hallway behind those spaces, or is the only access for load in from the front entries?
Yeah, Sherry and Steve, I don't know if you guys are on or can hear. If there was a back entrance on this side or something coming down the ramp, I'm not sure that there was. I thought it was separated by a interior hallway. And then the only doors would be on this front facing wall here, but.
Yeah, this is, oh, sorry. This is Chase Powell. I was just gonna add, Linda, one thing we've been exploring is exactly what Jeff was just describing on building 5,000 and 6,000, where you see the opening by the stairwell over there. We were looking at having that as like a loading bay with an internal corridor just specifically for the back of house commercial space. To be used as like a holding area if they, say they have trash that is going to go out into the dumpster or something. They can hold things there, or if it's, they're whatever other ancillary items they have.
Yeah, because there's a couple things that worry me here behind that boulevard entrance is probably going to be a preferential loading zone just in terms of use, but also in terms of Uber and ride sharing. And right now it's configured, you probably couldn't get 2 vehicles side by side on a 14-foot wide driveway access. So you may encounter some queuing now down to 195, and that's really our concern at the end of the day.
Is there a number, I guess, from that standpoint that would make you more comfortable? Would it be like 16 feet, or are you talking even wider?
What do you think, Jeff? You're the professional engineer who's stamping it.
I mean, there is no parking on there. So, I mean, that 8-foot island can be shrunk a bit, but not by much. And we don't have much flexibility here otherwise. So I would imagine that a lot of the drop-offs would take place down here, no different than any other retail development for Uber and rideshare.
I believe the drop off happened at the circle next to the building at the bottom down there.
You're talking in here?
Is somebody there to enforce it at all times?
I can't answer
No,
that.
no one would
I don't
be
think
there to
anybody's there to
enforce it at all
enforce.
times.
No.
But however, I'll add a couple things. Number one, first of all, I mean, we don't know that, nor would we really anticipate the uses in either one of these buildings to really be like a heavy retail user. It just, you don't have the traffic counts along 195 to really justify that. I mean, we anticipate, you know, the users to be kind of more so, I would say like either office or commercial that they like having a retail presence, like, you know, whether it be a gym or a nail salon or residential retail office, something like that. So, you know, thinking that Uber is going to be stacked up and stacking up the street in order to kind of block off the road just seems kind of out of line for what we're anticipating here.
Jason, based on our experience, we see that on a Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night in downtown every weekend. So we disagree.
Right, but I mean, you have a lot more restaurants down there, correct?
Not really.
It's just the students getting picked up,
Right.
residents getting picked up.
I mean, if that's the case, and right now, those doors here largely serve that commercial and office space. If you're a student calling for a ride or being dropped off at your residential abode, you're not going to be getting dropped off in that main drive aisle. You're going to pull to the back and or call for an Uber, you know, at a certain location where you're on a sidewalk. So I guess that would be my only comment to that. I wouldn't think that they'd be blocking the main entry drive, especially with the 14-foot drive aisle.
So there's no residential none of the residences outlet onto that boulevard.
I don't believe so. Sherry and Steve, I don't know if there is a door up here that comes out now, or if this is strictly just, if it's cut a line right down the middle and that's all servicing retail and commercial.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We are not, it really kind of depends on who is renting the retail space. We may need a door on Storrs Avenue. If it's broken up into multiple retail spaces, we may not need a door on Storrs. It just depends on who rents it, because we may need a second means of egress on that side.
I'll take it out.
If the space is large enough.
So Fred, you expressing a concern?
Yeah, concerned with, if I gotta set up an aerial on that boulevard, 14 feet isn't gonna cut it. It may cut it for our truck that we're ordering, but right now I'm relying on mutual aid. That's not gonna cut it.
What kind of width do you need, or what's in that island that would that you could?
Well,
It's
I mean,
the support for the truck, Fred.
yeah, the stabilizing jacks for the aerial coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot the name from yesterday.
Yeah. So, yeah, me personally would like to see that island shrunk from 8 feet down to whatever we can do. 4, cut it in half.
Still, we'll give it a divider and then they can do whatever they want.
Right.
Still, yeah.
No, yeah, there'll be two 16-foot drive aisles with a 4-foot wide dedicated island that's raised, so that would be achievable.
Okay.
Jeff, I can't remember. Do you have any landscaping in that island right now?
Yeah, I believe we do, which would have to be looked at if we're gonna be adding anything to it. I'm just looking to pull it up right now.
Tight, and we still get it.
We still have trees that are actually
Yeah,
surviving better
trees
than
that-
anywhere else.
I believe they were columnar style trees, so they weren't large canopies or anything, but
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is gonna be what you're doing then subsurface for the root system to make sure that they're,
yeah, they're smaller columnar style trees.
I mean, I think the 16-foot wide, I think that would be wide enough for you. That's enough to at least get a second vehicle by tightly, but you at least could get it by if you needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're giving 2 feet on each side.
Exactly.
So.
Okay. That's fair.
I just worry about this John Carrington delivery trucks, like Dog Lane. Currently, we get in front of Subway,
Duncan.
Luya, all that, a truck will pull up. And it's easy to get around because there's no island, but if a delivery truck stops there, and they will, because they all want to go the shortest distance, you know, it could block traffic for a while.
And I think that's gonna be your kind of sign. I don't like sign clutter and enforcement, but I think on this, you're gonna need no parking and no loading signs. And then you're gonna have to have an enforcement plan Because otherwise, I mean, depending on who you have in there, you know, whether it's a box truck or a semi, they just stop where, as John said, it's what's most convenient for them. They're not, it doesn't matter where, quite frankly, where you direct them to. It's the driver who's going, I'm stopping here, I'm doing this, and then you have folks trying to maneuver around them. I think the 16 feet will help.
If they hug the curb.
If they hug the curb, but I think again, it's gonna be, how are you enforcing no loading, no parking, no drop offs?
Well, you can put a sign all day long.
I know.
And the thing with the sign clutter, as long as they strategically put the signs where they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
They can put them on the street lights and all that.
Yeah.
Keep poles out of the sidewalks. And
I agree.
I don't want to see any of that.
Well, dump trucks, what, 8 feet wide, wheel well, something like that?
Yeah.
So you figure no more than a foot off the curb, so now you're 9 feet, so you're still leaving 7 feet. You fit a
At least the
pickup truck.
bulk of the vehicles that
Yeah,
are still
not
trying to
maybe 2 dump
bypass.
trucks.
Right,
I think shortening up that,
narrowing it, yeah.
you know, cutting it in half is gonna leave enough room for whoever does park there and go around it.
And also from my standpoint, for emergency access. to
Yeah,
stop
it'll be a
areas.
lot
You need that anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then the other one, are you all set, John? I'm good.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, this is Chase Powell. The only thing I would add as far as enforcement goes, I mean, we do these projects all across the country, and we'll have a professional property management company that's a subsidiary of ours managing this project. And so whenever there's an issue of if there's a delivery truck that comes and is blocking something, you know, we're obviously looking out for the best interest of our residents as well. And so if there's a truck that's blocking a main ingress egress area, I mean, they would certainly go up and ask them to move or tell them where to go if it's designated for them not to be able to park there specifically. So I don't think that's really like a issue that I foresee. Now, I wouldn't say there's going to be someone sitting out there 24/7, like right in front of that drive aisle in order to, you know, tell people to move or whatever. But we'll certainly have property management on site that with security cameras, and if they see someone blocking, you know, they normally just ask them to move.
that sounds fair. Then the last question I think we had is with DPW was from snow removal standpoint. That was still an outstanding concern on not just the peer reviewer, but ourselves as well.
Yeah, I think ultimately, and there's some work we have to do. One of the comments that came back from Weston and Sampson, we had a couple new bike racks in some of the areas where we were looking to store the snow, was just in one of the bike rack areas. So we're going to be revisiting that. There were certain areas that, you know, were behind guide rails, specifically down near building 4000. So, you know, in the event of a large snowstorm, you know, there's only going to be so many places that we can put snow, and we've got that on our site plan in strategic locations where we're not looking to interfere with any of the existing or proposed stormwater management systems. But in reality, if it's a incredibly large snow event, just like any other development, you'd end up you'd truck snow off site as well. So we've had storms 2-3 feet and there's just nowhere else to put it. So it ends up going off site. But we have strategically placed these areas. And again, we're going to be revisiting this pursuant to the comments we received from Linda and some of the Weston and Sampson comments moving forward here.
So Jeff, your snow plan does include trucking off-site for large events?
We would just run out of location. So I would imagine that in you know, an event that's a foot or two of snow and there's nowhere else to put it based on what we're showing here, that it would be trucked off site as opposed to, you know, filling in one of our rain gardens. That wouldn't happen.
Or parking. So that, and the reason I was asking is if it was specific to that is so just so that everyone, whoever's doing the maintenance understands that that's an expectation and that you cannot, if we get large events, just start piling it in parking spaces, wetlands, and other areas that you don't have the capacity for that, and it's got to be removed.
Yeah, but I mean, the problem is we end up stacking it and then moving it the next day, how are
Yeah.
they planning on doing that?
Well, they're gonna, their management team's gonna have to figure out where they wanna remove the parking spots and all that. They're gonna, there's no way looking at this that they have enough room to store snow. So, once they get through their first winter, they'll figure it out and they'll say, okay, we'll lose, these 10 spots over here, these 5 spots over here, and then they'll end up hauling it out. Places like this have to haul it out.
Oh, of
And they
course.
know that. So it's just, we just don't, like you said, we just don't want it stacked in wetlands or near wetlands because we all know what's in it. So, yeah,
I mean, how tight are we on parking? I mean,
That's what I was gonna
because
say.
they don't want to lose the spots.
I thought
I don't
I
think
heard
they
Linda
would.
saying that they can't afford those spots.
They
Well, I mean, they've been great. They're asking for reductions, which they are allowed to do for doing certain things. And so I think they're recalculating. I mean, based on the calculations I did, I think they have, even with the correct calculations on the reduction, I think they should have a few
Some
extras,
surplus.
some surplus. I don't know how many.
I think we have like 18 or
It's right around there.
doing the math.
Oh, we
Yeah.
use.
Yeah, and you'll find out that you're gonna use probably half those in an average storm, just to stock it there, and then you're gonna have to. It's just winter, you just gotta, people have to understand that you're gonna lose spots for a storm, just the way it is.
So one question, and I know I talked to Donna at Landmark yesterday, who indicated had some permitting questions, and she indicated that you are looking at possibly changing out the dumpsters for compactors based on our last discussion. But one thing that we've noticed as we're doing our review, and Derek, you can explain this better than I can, is that some of the dumpsters presently are located in the Eversource easement. And so I think just to be, whether it's dumpster or compactor, what are the height clearances that you guys are gonna need, given the overhead power lines there?
Transmission lines,
Thank
Oh,
you.
they got plenty.
even if they go up and over the, okay. I just haven't been out. I don't recall how high those are off the ground.
So,
Major
Okay.
transmission lines are 20 or above. Should be.
They're pretty old.
Okay, maybe they're.
Yeah, it's just something just to kind of keep in mind, Jeff, kind of.
Yeah, and when we talked with those folks, we were looking to do it as far east and west of the site. So the dumpsters over near 1,000 and then to the right or to the east of 7,000. So then just the two areas there next to 7,000 would just be the two, 8x8 dumpster and recycling bin. But we'll double check the clearance height just to
Yeah, just height.
put everybody at ease here.
Those are old ones.
Yeah, those are old lines. They're going up over here, over the truck.
Yes, I keep forgetting.
All right, any other questions, comments?
I think they're doing those old.
What do we need to do, Linda?
so I guess that, the public hearing is gonna open on the 15th. So if you feel that, they've sufficiently addressed Weston and Sampson's comments with the changes discussed today, you can make a recommendation to the Planning and Zoning Commission with regard, or quite frankly, with regard to this version, what changes you would like to see addressed. So for example, the big one I picked up was widening the lanes in that entrance, the
boulevard entrance.
eastern entrance boulevard from 14 feet to 16 feet. Derek, I'll let you summarize the rest.
Yeah, so I think, based on the conversation, I'd make a motion that, and basically the two recommendations for alterations would be, changing the boulevard width, addressing snow storage with a snow management plan. And lastly would be
Bus.
the bus. I think having the internal bus stop is definitely a big difference from what we were hearing before. So.
So what would the comment be on the bus stop?
So I think the further coordination with WRTD.
I think what we're looking for is something in writing.
Yes, exactly.
And Philip is the person that I referred this plan set to, so, but I
Or
have
just
not.
a documentation of that coordination and
In that they're, good with what you're proposing or any changes that they're recommending.
Great.
you've identified a bus stop. It sounds like you're talking about whether or not there's going to be some type of pull off. And just understanding what that is.
Mhm.
And then in terms of the amenities, just, that's not for the traffic authority, but that'll be covered in mine. I know you indicated that you would do amenities. I just don't think there are any details there right now.
This isn't, I don't
Yeah.
think this is the spot to do it.
No.
No.
So,
Okay.
Yep.
So your
So
motion,
to
Derek,
accept-
is
Basically to accept what do you
to recommend.
recommend?
Just, it's just, I would move to make the following, recommend the following changes to the plan set dated 10/4/2021.
Okay. I'll make that motion, move to recommend those alterations, just noted regarding the Eastern Boulevard to 16-foot wide aisles, snow plans, or a submission of a snow management plan, and lastly, documentation of the coordination with WRTD.
Is there a second? Second by Brian. Any further discussion, questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, one abstention, Linda? All right, so thank you for coming and good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All our external people were associated with that, right?
Yes. So I can shut this down. You need it up for recording.
Well, I guess, whatever.
We're on, being recorded. Next is Denise is here for winter welcome. Gotta get through Halloween first, but she's here for winter welcome.
Yeah. So this year, we're requesting a road closure similar to what's done for the Celebrate Mansfield Festival and the trick or treat. Our goal for the winter welcome program is to expand it, taking some of those displays and elements, the video projection and different things that worked from the drive-through and bring it into a walking format. That's why we're looking for the road closure, so that if we have a high attendance, which is our goal, that it's safe for all of those participants and for those displays.
If it's the same way that we've been going about closing the roads, I mean, we're beating a dead horse. We do it.
Yeah. So I think
This
this is,
event, that event, same thing.
the only thing is that Eastern Access Road, I think is the only one we have to still close on there, Denise.
Yep, oh, I'm so sorry. I will-
No, it's okay. So either side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Yep.
behind Kathmandu. All right, so any questions? Who's entering the trim a tree contest in here?
What's that?
Brian is.
What's that?
Who's entering the trim a tree contest? Public Works, all right.
I'll ask my staff. We can do a
No.
Red Sox tree.
We would love it. We are, really- so we had 5 trees last year. We're trying to do 10 trees this year.
You want us to decorate a tree for you?
If you'd like to, it is a contest for a prize.
You do it every year.
With all talking.
I don't even like Christmas.
So I,
Maybe engineering and planning can do it.
it's not specifically a transportation question, although I guess there could be transportation implications, but fully recognizing that holiday lighting can be kind of a, no pun intended, a charged topic. But given, we talked about this last year, I was just getting into town when we were kind of rolling into the holiday season, but I know we do some lighting down there and it looks nice. But it seems to me that, and I know we didn't really get our act together to plan for this year, but I'll say now, I was, I guess, saying shortly after I got here last year, I just think there's really a lot of opportunity to kind of go all in on the downtown with lighting. And I know that, I won't even say Christmas trees, conically shaped evergreens with illumination can, but
No.
my feeling is, the answer isn't you exclude everything, you just try to include more. And, I don't know, just maybe I'm just a
You want more lights?
sad for the holiday season, but to me, it's like we just keep talking about like things that kind of make the downtown more of a draw. And I feel like there's got to be a way to play up like tree lighting ceremony and something and do it in a way that doesn't alienate anybody or make anybody feel less than or religiously uncomfortable or anything like that. There's got to be a way to do something.
Light the tree at the downtown at the same time,
So there.
right in the center of the.
I mean, a lot of towns obviously have held on to the tradition of doing this. And I don't know, I recognize.
Yeah, I think, yeah, no, I get it. I mean, like, one of my favorite things, honestly, about the winter are the lights that Public Works puts in the
Right.
street trees.
Right.
And I would love to see it lining like Storage Road, like it just brings.
Right.
I say we do all the polls. I mean, I personally believe in going all out, but I'm not.
It's one of those.
And I don't care if
I mean, I don't want to cause a furor, obviously, but it just seems like, again, I've always just felt the communities that err on the side of like, well, we don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, so we're just going to basically not do anything. Like, that's not the answer. You just, obviously you don't want to project like, well,
We
we're
just want
only,
people to be happy and excited about something during that time.
This
That's
area is-
usually-
this area is
It's dark early,
Yeah.
all its leaves are
Yeah,
gone.
believe it or
yeah, we
not,
obviously
a lot of things
have
to be
an
depressed
awful lot of.
Right, and that's why I said,
And
like,
then
when Brian
it's a
started doing
very
the lights.
difficult time for a lot of people during that time of year. And if they drive down the road, that's why and I'm gonna say my piece and then John, I won't say anything. That's like the flowers and all that. I really don't care if people like them or don't like them. I'm gonna do them with the okay of and I think they look beautiful, even though they don't last that long. And then we're gonna light up the trees. These are things that need to be done. If people don't like it, you can all tell them it was my idea, and then I'll blame Ryan. So
I've never heard anyone say they don't, but again, I think winter gets to be that time where, as Derek said, it's just so
gloomy.
and drab that anything we
Yep.
can do that kind of creates, a reason to be like, oh, I like that,
Just something you like.
it
know
just, it
what?
just brings
Change.
some
Public
joy.
Works is gonna do a tree.
Okay.
I can't wait to see this.
So
Well, what I was trying to say, it's a unique area because it's a partnership area, even though it is in the town, we gotta make sure the partnership backs it.
See, I don't,
Well, you have to because UConn's involved in it. and
So-
You don't want it, some, UConn gets more into politics than we do.
So like as an example, and I probably brought this up with well, I don't know if anybody here, but maybe it was with Cynthia, but so where we were previously, Enfield, New Hampshire, neighbor community to Hanover, right? So you got Dartmouth College. If you think that Mansfield is blue, go hang out in Hanover. And the reason I'm bringing this up, and Lebanon too, for that matter, but Hanover being another college town, the fact that they still do, Christmas tree lighting and all this other stuff. They have a menorah lighting, they have all this other stuff. So again, they're about to include, so if like it flies there in like the most so blue town you can imagine, like there's gotta be a way to do it here that we can do that the world doesn't explode over,
No, and I think I guess, and I don't know if this is possible, so Brian, you tell me, we have the 4 decorative light columns around the circle in the square.
the little rockets.
No, the diesel exhaust stacks.
Whatever we call, I'm just going with decorative light.
Those are lit up.
No, they are, but I guess,
The
so we don't,
$22,000 lights.
so
each.
we don't have the big evergreen in the middle of town that we can light, we just don't,
So
so.
we could put
could
one
you-
there in the
well,
center.
Well, that's what my question is it a tree, or can you do temporarily kind of a taller pole that's in the middle and then just do cascading lights off of that, that's
right, that
giving
gives it the
you.
We can do
contour.
whatever you
Yeah.
want.
I don't know, just to me, like you need some, it's kind of like having a very nice table with
Just
no
takes
like
money.
centerpiece or
John's
chandelier,
like, where's the money?
I guess that's the analogy comes to mind. Like right now we have, if
Drunk students on a zip line. That's
Yeah.
all I think.
Well, that's a technical question.
we have this nice downtown that everybody's proud of.
Yeah.
And we're all talking about
Yeah.
like, why can't it be better? Why don't more people
I
care?
think-
Whatever. And then so it's like the kitchen table that you buy that's beautiful, but then you don't have a chandelier and you don't have a place setting. It's like it's missing something.
So I guess again, this isn't traffic, but I would say, if we can find the money to do more lighting, I would just also recommend that we don't only do downtown, that we find a way to do
Sure.
stuff down in Mansfield Center.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
so, because I
agree,
think
agree.
that's,
No, I don't, I personally don't like that part of Mansfield or the other.
Well, that's the
corners.
portion.
No, I agree with you. We don't,
This is being.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm with
Let the record show that
So-
the operations manager was very much kidding.
So in West
Yes.
Hartford, we made sure we took care of Bishop's Corner, Elmwood section, the downtown, all of them got the same amount of attention.
We got the
You see-
Gurleyville Green, you gotta put a big tree in that little.
Well,
bit.
like, we.
But there are things we can do.
Yeah.
To welcome people into the town at both ends.
Well, and that's-
I've always said
There's a
that, but
huge right of way
I,
in Mansfield
and it
Center.
doesn't cost a lot of money.
Bus stops, we have those lights there down
You
there.
have,
some of those are
Mansfield Center,
opportunities.
and then you have down, you have the Southern Gateway, we were putting a new entryway sign
Yeah.
in.
They have electricity? on it? Can we
I
put
don't know.
something in?
No, but I mean,
Battery
a lot of the LEDs are solar
The-
powered. I mean,
The
There's
Yukon
ways-
sign on stores, or they string that, right?
Yeah,
overnight?
But some of those light poles down there are, it would take. It would
I'm talking about the
take-
new signs we're putting.
Yeah, the gateway
If
signage.
you could put lights on that.
Yeah, we don't have electricity on them.
But
wasn't
for,
in the
for
budget.
this year, we could hang reefs on the light poles down there. We can hang reefs, coming in. These are things, they
Sure,
don't
some
take a lot of
solar
time.
powered light, right?
You know,
Yeah, solar
November,
power.
December isn't, you know, I'm not saying we have a boatload of time, but we have time to do these things. We have the resources. You just tell me, say, do it. And
Well, we would probably wanna like have a plan.
That actually was gonna be my question. Would this be worth for me to set up a larger meeting to kind of talk about?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had an off the cuff, it was probably like literally like the day of winter welcome or whatever last year that I was saying to Cynthia, like, oh, it's kind of a bummer. And then she's, she's, oh, I agree. So yeah, no,
I think, and as I said, to John's point, if we can find the money,
Mhm.
it has been a tough couple of years for people, and if this could be a, like, kind of surprise that, oh my goodness, the town really.
well, there's no
did it
question, I mean, let's
this
be honest,
year.
there's no question that a lot of people, I mean, they're gonna like be like very, very happy and like, again, I'm just recognizing that.
There'll be some that won't be.
Right,
Yeah.
and
No.
don't wanna discount, like, don't wanna have it like,
And again, that's why I think if it's not,
so why don't we do this? So we don't beat a dead horse. Why don't we just pick a day next week or the week after? Sit down, think about the reefs down there. Everybody come up with a idea and just put it on paper and then we just do it. But we all should agree on it, so we're not.
the way the square is used during the winter, if there was, I mean, whether it's a tree or not, but something taking up sort of central space there, is that can interfere with?
Yeah, offhand, I don't think
Okay.
so, because there's not, once the students leave kind of for the winter, there's not as much pedestrian traffic and the table.
It would probably overlap like
There's no concerts in the.
a week or so before.
and we
they
don't plow
stay
the
out.
green, we only plow the plaza.
And we could put a big pot in there with a big evergreen in there.
Shovel,
lit
yeah,
up.
you go around, that's what I'm saying, like, that's the green is actually just snow covered during the winter.
Yes,
Okay,
We don't
We just
clear
do the
this,
sidewalks of the perimeter.
okay.
yeah.
but we could put something in the center of it.
All right,
I
so
would,
Denise will set up a meeting
Yeah.
in a week or two.
well, I would do it.
Sooner the better.
I would do it sooner rather than later, because I don't want, because once we agree to it, it's not gonna be like,
Tomorrow.
yeah, it's gonna take a little.
So is there a motion to approve the plan with the addition of the,
So moved.
Second,
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. I did just want to.
Elf on a shelf.
Super quickly
Mhm.
address the idea of making it accessible to multiple faiths. This year, that actually is the week of Hanukkah.
Oh, great.
So we worked with Rabbi Hecht from UConn last year. We're hoping he'll join us again. for the next one.
Very good, thank
do
you.
they make large menorahs?
I don't know, Hanover, like I said, they have, it's all like, it's a lights
job,
that
Denise.
make, kind of like you're saying, like with a tree, it's the shape of,
The shape of.
yeah, it's not
And
like,
then
it's
you-
not a menorah like strung with lights, it's a lights that,
But one that you.
Clearly
can
you'd
one that you can
recognize-
control and do.
Right.
One at a time.
yeah, I think even like, probably very expensive, because I think basically like, the lights, and as you move through it, they light up. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Denise.
Next is there's legislation out there to establish speed limits in Connecticut. We can do it internally in the town, or we can keep it as is. It's done along the whole public act there. We don't get that many requests to change speed limits. Where I see it, we just leave it with the Office of the State Traffic Administration. Not that, I don't, but I'm open to discussion.
John, we don't have a townwide speed limit like some communities
Like
allow.
when you're now entering, you should know it's
30 miles an hour unless posted.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, that we don't have
Now
that.
Sherry and I went to a class. If it's not posted in Connecticut, you know what the speed limit is?
25.
55.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It's a little loophole in the.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, trust me, people use that.
Yeah.
so you
I was-
have to post the speed limit.
I was
on every
doing
road,
55.
But
So I think the only one that came to mind when I saw this was, I think we asked for 15 in the downtown several years ago and Asta denied it, and I don't
I thought we
know.
got.
No, I thought
Did we get it?
Yeah.
They actually then came out and recommended we change Baxter Road
Oh.
or Cedar Swamp Road because of the speed calming devices there. They
Oh,
said you should just do
We got
15
it?
there as
Okay,
well.
see, my-
Yeah, I don't know if we
my
ever got the sign up, because where it is in downtown, it's hard to put a sign up.
memory. So wait, does that mean you go 55 downtown?
No, so further down.
thought we did.
25. I don't know if we got the 15 I don't know if we ever got the 15 up.
Because, yeah, is it basically a requirement that if you add speed calming devices, you still have to reasonably be able to maintain an average, the
Average
speed
speed
limit? Yeah.
Yes.
So if it's opposed to 25, and whatever you put in is gonna necessitate that the average speed drop below that doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
So we're opting to do, keep it as
Maintain.
is.
I mean, that'd be my recommendation.
I second that.
We do that by consensus.
Yeah, nope, good.
All right, next is the rectangular rapid flashing beacon project. Which I don't think they told us about this, and I forgot about it, but they are putting in,
Flashing, speaking.
Liberty Bank.
if you know down at the bank.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah, they're gonna put in other ones, and my assistant here is gonna pull it up on.
I kind of like that idea.
Here. Van, could you pull that up?
26.
Oh,
There's
26.
4 of them on.
Yeah, but that one already has, so I don't know if they, I don't know, were told before when we put the one in down there that we couldn't put the one up at Hanks Hill. Flaherty because of the yellow flashing light for Hanks Hill Flaherty traffic. So I don't, we may have to contact the state.
The thing is, I see more people at that crosswalk than the one by Liberty Bank.
Yep.
So they're saying it's gonna take away from the caution of the intersection.
You're gonna miss.
I don't see that as. I don't know.
But all we're doing for today is, authorizing Ryan to sign the PAL, project authorization letter.
I love that,
I think they do help,
absolutely.
especially with the new change.
Plus,
That
Ryan signed it.
basically
They've become ours, the state puts them in, then they're ours to maintain, take care of. So if they get hit by a car, we gotta fix them.
They did that with all the
All the
corners and all that, so.
Just letting everyone know. These are not as cheap as a street sign,
Oh, no, these are very expensive.
about $10,000 each.
not each crosswalk,
Each light, they're about 20,000 per.
But by
crosswalk.
doing this will help with a lot of the complaints that we get that we're not doing enough for.
Yes.
So,
But they're not as stealable as a street sign?
no, no.
I don't put anything past, especially in an engineering student.
Challenge accepted.
Yep.
Yep.
The hacker culture.
So, yeah, consensus that Ryan signed.
Yeah.
Which I don't know,
Yep.
digital signature
What? Next year's meeting schedule.
and we're doing next year's meeting schedule because we don't know if we'll have a November or December meeting this year. We'll probably,
Right.
Linda will probably throw something at us.
Yeah, she always does.
But we did make an adjustment for the last two November
You know
and
how I
December
feel.
meetings, which we didn't do this year to move it up a week just to get it.
I've
away
reached
from-
Brian's status, wow.
Yes, you have.
I move to set the
Second.
SAC schedule.
Second, Fred,
Yep.
second, thank
Yep.
you, all in favor? Say aye.
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 Unanimous, thank you. And motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye.